In the year 2028, one Big Mac will equal $1 million. From the Gospel of John McAfee. Bro, just learn to code. The Project Freedom Podcast.
From the Gospel of John McAfee. One Big Mac, $1 million. Guys, John McAfee was a pretty sovereign individual, I would say. And what a fitting intro for such a fitting topic tonight. But first, Cody Moose in the Who says, I wonder what Google Trends graph says about the term sovereign individual. Good question, Cody. We should check that. And as always, Sam saying yes. So, friends, I am going to educate you guys out there tonight on my, I guess I could say this is like, at least in recent times, my most favorite book. But even if it wasn't my quote unquote favorite book, I don't think that there's ever been a more prevalent time to talk and or / read this book live on air. And that's what I'm going to do. And so I asked my lawyers, guys, I asked my lawyer, I said, can I read a book on stream if I'm pausing through it and giving my interpretation on it? And he said, yes, you can. That's transformative.
That's transformative content.
So since it's considered to be
transformative content,
then I'm going to go ahead and say that this is going to be okay to do. But if I get in trouble for this, so be it. So be it, because I think this is I think this needs to be done. So, friends, as you guys can see here, bada boom, bada bing. This is a PDF copy of The Sovereign Individual, the original copy from 1997, as you guys can see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it to you guys. Now, obviously, I have to pause and stop and give my thoughts and opinions on it, because otherwise then it wouldn't be
transformative content.
So in order for us to keep it
transformative,
then we got to do it this way, okay? So, friends, let's go right ahead. All right, so I guess, and there's no preface in this PDF, but the preface is actually pretty good to read. As you guys can see, it was written by James Dale Davidson and Lord William Rees Mogg. 1997. And it's funny because a lot of the things that I talk about and a lot of the things that other people in my network and other content creators talk about, it's almost like this book predicted the future, which in many ways it kind of did. It's pretty scary if you especially because, like, okay, we're in the year 2022, correct? Last time I checked, this was indeed 2022. So like it's kind of creepy that if you go and read this now, it's like, holy smokes, holy cannoli, how fitting are some of the things inside of this book. And a lot of it was just kind of like, did these people have a lens to the future? And this, the book continues to go on, and you can consider like the next 20 years, you could consider this to possibly be a blueprint for the next 20 years. So chapter 1, guys, their transition in the year 2000. Let me put on my reading voice for you guys out there. It feels like something big is about to happen. Graphs show us the yearly growth of populations, atmospheric concentrations of carbon dioxide, web addresses, and megabytes per dollar. They all soar up to an asymptote just beyond the turn of the century, the singularity. And if you guys don't know what the term singularity means, it's basically kind of like, well, there's a bunch of different like definitions for this, but the most original one is kind of like when humanity is basically like all merged together, kind of like through consciousness, and in a way like we are now with the internet. The end of everything we know, the beginning of something we may never understand. The coming of the year 2000 has haunted the Western imagination for the past 1,000 years. Ever since the world failed to end at the turn of the first millennium after Christ, theologians, evangelists, poets, and seers, whatever the hell a seer is, have looked to the end of this decade with an expectation, that would bring something monumentous. And if you guys remember what was going on like on New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve year 2000, or rather 1999, I was like 8 years old. And I remember when we were all out shooting fireworks and stuff with my family, that everyone was freaking out. They were like, guys, all the computers, they're not going to be able to, the daytime variables, guys, they're not going to be able to roll over to the year 2001. And everyone thought that there was going to be like missiles getting launched and computer malfunctions everywhere and blah, 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 blah. And that never happened, right? And apparently, as you guys can see, many, many other people throughout the last 1,000 years were predicting for the year 2000 to be kind of like the end of humanity, right? And lo and behold, 22 years later, we can say that that did not happen. No less an authority than Isaac Newton speculated that the world would end with the year 2000. Michel de Nostradamus, whose prophecies have been read by every generation since they were first, won Danny Hill's The Millennium Clock. Published in 1568, forecast the coming of the third Antichrist in July 1999, which Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, you guys know Jung, connoisseur of the collective unconscious, envisioned the birth of a new age in 1997. Such forecasts may easily be ridiculed, but there is no denying that they excite a morbid fascination at a time where many were not entirely sure what to believe. A sense of disquiet about the future has begun to color the optimism so characteristic of Western societies for the past 250 years. People everywhere are hesitant and worried. You see it in their faces, hear it in their conversation. See it reflected in the polls and registered in the ballot box. Doesn't that kind of sound just like what's going on today, guys? People everywhere are hesitant and worried. You see it in their faces. You hear it in their conversations, and it's reflected in the polls and registrations in the ballot box. And like, I can definitely say, yeah, when I'm like walking about, people definitely feel like people are a little bit uneasy nowadays, right? Especially since Katana in the last 2 years. Javi, the Phoenix, says, hello to you, my friend. Harry McGuire Jr. says, you were not even born yet. How old are you, Harry? You like 18? Alex says, Y2K, anyone remember? Yes, indeed. I remember. I got those member berries, Alex. I got those member berries. I definitely remember. Just as invisible physical change of ions in the atmosphere signals that a thunderstorm is imminent, even before the clouds darken and lightning strikes, so now, in the twilight of the millennium, premonitions of change are in the air. And you guys can feel that, right? Like, I feel like it's geez, look how much stuff changed in the last 2 years, guys. Look how much stuff has changed in the last years. And guys, hold on. The spotted pointy dog did indeed knock my camera out of view again. So I will be right back to fix that. What's up, guys? I'm Josh, or as you probably know me, eLift Program, and I'm here to talk to you about Developer Direction. What is Developer Direction, you might ask? We are the ultimate IT network and training academy. Ever heard of Fight Club? Yeah, It's kind of like that, but with more computing power. We teach and give courses just like boot camps, but that's not all. We help people actually get jobs, unlike colleges, and we help people get better jobs with... Okay, thanks, Light, for knocking the camera out of the angle again. Now, let us just get back to right where we were. Yeah, I feel change in the air, guys. I mean, I know most of you guys do too. And has it not been changing so much in the last 2 years? It's almost like things are happening like so fast, whereas like maybe 10 years ago, things would take forever to change, right? One person after another, each in his own way, senses that time is running out on a dying way of life. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. I don't think that there's anything that is more prevalent right now than that sentence, guys. Honestly and truthfully, each and every single one of you, even the boomers, you guys all know, even if you don't want to admit it, you guys all know that this is true. Everybody can feel it. Everybody can smell it. Time is running out on a dying way of life. As a decade expires, a murderous century expires with it. And oh, indeed, it was a murderous century, was it not? And also a glorious millennium of human accomplishments. And yeah, and we've like in the last 1,000 years, we've had a lot of exponential growth in a lot of different areas of everything, really. I mean, look at the technology we have these days. I'm literally here talking to you guys across the planet through software on a computer, whereas the idea of that 1,000 years ago could have been unconceptual, right? All draw to a close with the year 2000. And keep in mind, guys, this book was written in 1997, okay? 1997. Keep that in mind while I'm reading this to you guys, okay? We believe that the modern phase of Western civilization will end with it. So they were claiming that in the year 2000, the modern phase of Western civilization has ended. Okay? This book tells why. Like many earlier works, it is an attempt to see into a glass darkly, to sketch out the vague shapes and dimensions of a future that is still to be. In that sense, we mean our work to be apocalyptic in the original message of the word. Apocalypsis means unveiling in Greek. We believe that a new stage in history, the age of the sovereign individual, is about to be unveiled. And then they have a quote from the Bible: "Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasted, nor destruction within thy borders." Isaiah 60:18. The fourth stage of human society. And I guess, you know what? I would have to say, I think I can agree with the fact that times have changed since 2000, right? I don't think that is... I don't think anybody can really debate or argue against that. But it's not just like, oh, now we have computers, and now we have this or that, and times have changed. No, like literally the dynamics, like the social contract between people, sexes, like men and women, family, government, humanity, it's all changed drastically in the last 22 years, right? Harry says, doesn't this give you anxiety/panic attacks? Not really, dude. If I'm being honest, Harry, the thought of like being completely sovereign makes me rock solid, my friend. Like, I don't really want it any other way. And if you actually go and read this book and you start to conceptualize it, and if you have faith in yourself and you believe that you are a person of talent who is driven and energetic and motivated, then you, my friend, are going to be able to be one of the people in society who basically their potential is limitless. It's untapped, right? The fourth stage. Yes, indeed. The Greaticus Ruseticus, says Max Dignitas. Oh, and boy, oh boy, is it a Greaticus Ruseticus indeed. It just happens to not be the Great Reset that they wanted it to be. At least not yet, right? At least not yet. Let me move my face over here. All right, friends. So the fourth stage of human society. The theme of this book is the new revolution of power, which is liberating individuals at the expense of the 20th century nation state. Nation states, guys. Now, does anyone here live in a country that's kind of a nation full of states? That America thing, right. And is anyone that is in any one of those states that are a part of said nation starting to realize that it's getting a little bit more separated than it was before? I know I am. Innovations that alter the logic of violence in unprecedented ways are transforming the boundaries within which the future must lie. If our deductions are correct, you stand at the threshold of the most sweeping revolution in history. And like, Harry, this is why I was saying, like, when you mentioned this comment up here, this, like, the possibility that can be achieved by just the average person, if and only if the premonitions of this book become true, well, that's a good thing, my friend. It is a very, very good thing. Faster than all but a few now imagine, microprocessing will subvert and destroy the nation state, creating new forms of social organization in the process. This will be far from an easy transformation. The challenge it will pose will be all the greater because it will happen with incredible speed compared with anything seen in the past. Now, guys, like, how fast is shit changing nowadays? Like, it seems almost like things change and go one way or the other overnight now, right? I know you guys can feel that too. And this statement stands correct thus far. Through all of human history, from its earliest beginnings until now, there have been only 3 basic stages of economic life. So let's see what the 3 basic stages of economic life are. 1, hunting and gathering societies. Well, anyone that's taken like 3rd grade geography, maybe not even geography, like 3rd grade, if you guys just had basic history classes, everyone knows like what these kind of societies were, right? 2nd stage, agricultural societies. I mean, we all should know that too. And 3, industrial societies. And this is obviously like where we're at, right? Or are we? Now, looming over the horizon is something entirely new, the 4th stage of social organization, information societies. Pretty crazy to think about, guys. Incredible speed. Yes, it is incredible speed, isn't it? The Southern individual, says Andy Mack. Only ELP people know. Only ELP people know this meme. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Each of the previous stages of society has corresponded with distinctly different phases in the evolution and control of violence. As we explain in detail, information societies promised to dramatically reduce the returns to violence, in part because they transcend locality. At the new millennium, the advantage of controlling violence on I think this is a quote here, the final prophecies of Nostradamus on a large scale will be far lower than it has been at any time since before the French Revolution. Now, why do you guys think that is? What am I doing here right now? Like, I'm at a desk in Miami, Florida, talking to you guys all across the planet through the internet, right? Like, location isn't really as important now as it used to be. So perhaps that could be exactly what they're talking about here. This will have profound consequences. One of these will be rising crime. Now, this part, not super exciting to hear, right? Or is it? When the payoff for organizing violence at a large scale tumbles, the payoff from violence at a smaller scale is likely to jump. Violence will become more random and localized. Organized crime will grow in scope. We will explain why. Interesting. Another logical implication of falling returns to violence is the eclipse of politics. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. That would be nice. There is much evidence that adherence to the civic myths of the 20th nation state is rapidly eroding. Now, guys, keep in mind, this was from 1997. And they're like, there's the much evidence that the myth of the 20th century nation state is rapidly eroding. I mean, 7, 8, 9, 10, 25 years later, there's a lot more than just evidence, right? There's a lot more than just evidence that the 20th century nation state is imploding, right? I mean, literally, go stick your head outside of a window for 5 seconds, and you will see that the 20th century, the quote-unquote
20th century nation state,
it's eroding, right? Pablo Busco says, the only moderator that matters here, Auntie. The small town Southern individual. Indeed, my friend. The death of communism is merely the most striking example, and I guess thus far, that the 20th century nation state, and well, we haven't had a total death of quote unquote communism yet, right? We just kind of have some like one large China. Excuse me, did I say China? One large kind of country that's kind of communistic in many ways, but it's like a, I guess we could say that China is, guys, what would you say? Would you say China is like a, would you guys say that China is like a capitalistic, communistic country? I wouldn't even know how to describe that, friends. Another logical implication of falling returns to violence in the eclipse. Oh, no. We just read that. Sorry, guys. As we explore in detail, the collapse of morality and growing corruption among leaders of the Western governments is not a random development. It's almost like in 1997, the people that wrote this book knew a thing or two, right? The collapse of morality. Boy, oh boy, are we seeing a collapse of morality. And I don't know, maybe the part about the leaders of Western governments being corrupt. No. That just can't. That's definitely not true. That's definitely just a lie, right? Wink, wink. It is evident that the potential of the nation state is exhausted. What happens when something is exhausted, friends? Even many of its leaders no longer believe the platitudes they mouth, nor are they believed by others. Yep. So when the ice cream man goes up on stage and touts out a bunch of stuff, he doesn't even believe it himself. And you're right. We don't believe it either. History repeats itself. This is a situation with striking parallels in the past. Whenever technological change has divorced the old forms from the new moving forces of the economy, moral standards shift. And boy, oh boy, we are seeing moral standards shift. If you don't believe that, come on down to Miami Beach, Florida, and go and walk down. Go and have a walk down Ocean Avenue, and you will see that the morals are. I guess that's the norm now. I guess that's the norm. People begin to treat those in command of the old institutions with growing disdain. Yep. The widespread revulsion often comes into evidence well before people develop a new coherent ideology of change. So it was in the late 15th century when the medieval church was the predominant institution of feudalism. Notwithstanding popular belief in the, quote, the scaredness of the Scadderat office. I'm not even sure what that word is, friends. Both the higher and lower ranks of clergy were held in the utmost contempt, not unlike the popular attitude towards politicians and bureaucrats of today. Yep. Most politicians and bureaucrats people do not like, right? We believe that much can be learned by the analogy between the situation at the end of the 15th century, when life had become thoroughly saturated by organized religion, and the situation today when the world has become saturated with politics. And yeah, like basically politics rule the world, right? Politics do indeed rule the world. Short the West. Yes. 100x leverage on the destruction of the West. And my friend, you will not be empty-handed. It eats ice cream in bed. Yes, I'm going to do that tonight, Max. I'm going to do that tonight. Mangoes at 4 a.m. LMAO. Who is this guy? How do you know I eat mangoes at 4 a.m.? Holy shit. Who are you, bro? Who are you, Jabby the Phoenix? Who is this guy? The cost of supporting institutionalized religion at the end of the 15th century has reached a historic extreme, much as the cost of supporting government have reached a senile extreme today. No, that's definitely not true. That's definitely not true at all. We know what happened to organized religion in the wake of the gunpowder revolution. Technological developments created strong incentives to downsize religious institutions and lower their cost. And they pretty much are like, religious institutions are pretty much now like what? They're bound to being like nonprofit organizations, which I don't really know if they're if they actually run things that way. But hey, what do I know, right? I'm just a guava farmer. A similar technological revolution is destined to downsize radically the nation state early in the new millennium. I wonder what if. My friends. The information revolution, as the breakdown of large systems accelerates, systemic compulsion will recede as a factor shaping economic life and the distribution of income. Efficiency will rapidly become more important than the didactics of power and the organizations of social institutions. An entirely new realm of economic activity that is not hostage to physical violence will emerge in cyberspace. The most obvious benefit will flow to the cognitive elite. Okay, cognitive elite is what they're calling, who will increasingly operate outside political boundaries. Now, this part's important, guys, because like in the information age, if we're not going to, if you guys haven't been able to deduce thus far, the information age is about information. And in a time where more and more people are less informed and or have, let's just say, bogdabots circulating through their veins and can't think for themselves, then you can consider that people are going to be decreasing in maybe not just intellect, but amount of information that they have. A scary thought, guys, a very scary thought to think that like most of society could become, we'll just, instead of say dumb, we'll just say misinformed or ill-informed. But if you consider yourself to be smart and driven and energetic, all three of those things that they describe in this book, you yourself could become one of those quote unquote cognitive elite. And speaking of being informed, my friends, don't mind if I go ahead and do myself my shameless plug of the stream. So as you guys know, if you are subscribed on the email list, we have last night at midnight, Bootcamp X has been open for enrollment. And let me check the calendar again, guys, because I keep mixing dates up. All right, today's 23rd. Enrollment's going to close on the 27th, which is this Sunday. And just a quick recap, friends. Bootcamp X, 4 weeks, guys. All right, 4 weeks. And we're going to be learning primarily Python and JavaScript. Also going to be teaching you guys how to use React, a very, very big and important framework that a lot of people want and need. Going to teach you guys how to create a coding portfolio. We're going to have you guys fill the portfolio with 2 pretty decent projects in there. Going to have networking seminars. And then also Going to help set you guys up for the people that aren't going to be there for the entire year, that are just going to be there for this course, because again, this is course supposed to be brisk, 4 weeks, yada, yada, yada. Help set you guys up with a strategic plan to go ahead and try to find a job and or income afterwards. Don't be one of them peeps who ends up being misinformed, or rather ill-informed. Zombies, says Andy Mack. Yes, indeed. Boy, oh boy, there are a lot of zombies walking around, aren't they? Spark55 says hi. Yes. Yes, Christian Soto. This is the link. Thank you very much, Mr. Christian Soto. Now, shall we proceed? Shall I proceed to educate and inform you guys? There are 3 already equally home in Frankfurt, London, New York, Buenos Aires, Los Angeles, Tokyo, and Hong Kong. Incomes will become more unequal within jurisdictions and more equal between them. Weird, right? So basically what they're saying is that income inside of jurisdictions are going to become more unequal, which I believe we're already seeing that now. Ever since 2 years ago, the release of Katana. I mean, we had a lot of different classes of people that were doing all kinds of different work, right? And like a lot of people like that were doing service work, they became dependent off of the STEMI checks, right? The same people now are no longer wanting to return to work, and I can't say that I blame them, if I'm being honest with you. But we also saw a lot of people accelerate in these times, right? I don't like to powder my own arse per se, but I mean the last 2 years have been the best 2 years of my life, guys. I'm free, and at least in the sense that I'm no longer working for other companies. I own my own companies now, and I work for myself. I might have less free time, but I'm no longer dependent off of the wage gauge, right? And I think that the people that are at least maybe, I'm trying to word this in the most politically correct way possible, people that haven't been adequately skilled or quote unquote informed in this new information age during the last years, they suffered. And if you were informed, you probably accelerated. More of a reason for you guys to go to developerdirection.com. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guava farmer. The sovereign individual explores the social and financial consequences of this revolutionary change. Our desire is to help you take the advantage of the opportunities of the new age and avoid being destroyed by its impact. If only half of what we expect to see happens, you will face change of a magnitude with few precedents in history. Sounds scary, but again, anytime something like this happens, I mean, this is like the opportunity of a lifetime now, guys. Literally, the opportunity of a lifetime. When we continue this book, you guys see, literally, if a quarter of this stuff comes true, and you take the right action, and you're not skillless, you're not informationless, you're gonna do very good in the information age. Your cap is gonna be lifted, and you can go straight up to the moon. Literally, Mon. So every city will have slums, but all show luxury high rises. Yep, that's what I think. Because the fact that everything is going to be informational and digitized, it doesn't matter if you're in Buenos Aires. It doesn't matter if you're in Miami, Florida. Your opportunity to do good is going to be the same, right? So it's no longer going to be location dependent or independent, right? It's not going to matter on your location. It's going to matter on the person and how well informed they are. Which again, developerdirection.com. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guava fama. The transformation of the year 2000 will not only revolutionize the character of the world economy, the World Economic Forum, it will do so more rapidly than any previous phase change. Unlike the agricultural revolution, the information revolution will not take millennia to do its work. Unlike the industrial revolution, its impact will not be spread over centuries. And we're already seeing this now, guys. The information revolution will happen within a lifetime, maybe even less, I would say. I mean, it's already happening, right? But again, you got to keep in mind this book was written in 1997. So what is more, it will happen almost everywhere at once. Technological and economic innovations will no longer be confined to small portions of the globe. The transformation will be all but universal, and it will invoke a break in the past so profound that it will almost bring to life the magical domain of the gods as imagined by the early agricultural peoples like the ancient Greeks. To a greater degree than most would now be willing to concede, it will prove difficult or impossible to preserve many contemporary institutions in the new millennium. When information societies take shape, they will be as different from industrial societies as the Greece of Achilles was from the world of the cave dwellers. That part is the actual part that actually would I say be scary. And Harry Maguire Jr., if you're still listening, that's the part that I would say could be scary. The fact that it happened so quick and you wouldn't be, if you weren't informed, which I think that I'm informed about what's going on in the world, but again, I could just be a guava farmer, right? We can go to sleep tonight, guys. We could wake up tomorrow and then something crazy like, I don't know, the United States dollar is worthless like that. Literally could happen overnight. Literally, at how fast things move now. And part of the reason why things move so fast is because we already live in the information age, because information is instant now. Faster than I can snap my fingertips. Oh, I already read that one. I already won that one, Max. Excuse me. I think, guys, let's see. Let me leave a bookmark in this right here. Prometheus, Unbound, the rise of the sovereign individual. Actually, you know what? Let's finish this last section and then we can move on to something else. Finish this last section. Because I think this section right here is going to be the most important, in my opinion. At least the most important for tonight. Because I am going to read this again on stream, guys. Cody Moose in the Zeus says the future is going to be wild. Yes, sir. The future is now, old man. It is now, man. It is. All right, here we go. Prometheus Unbound, the rise of the sovereign individual. The coming transformation is both good news and bad. Harry Maguire Jr., if you're still watching, pay attention to this part. The good news is that the information revolution will liberate individuals as never before. If you consider yourself an individual, friends, there you go. There's your good news. For the first time, those who can educate themselves will be almost entirely free to invent their own work and realize the full benefits of their own productivity, i.e., despite all your rage, you're still just a wage in a cage, but you don't have to be. Genius will be unleashed, freed from both the oppression of government and the drags of racial and ethnic prejudice. In the information society, no one who is truly able will be detained by the ill-informed opinion of others. It will not matter what most of the people on earth might think of your race, your looks, your age, your sexual proclivities, or the way that you wear your hair. In the cyber economy, they will never see you. The ugly, the fat, the old, the disabled will vie with the young and the beautiful on equal terms and utterly colorblind anonymity on the new frontiers of cyberspace. So they're not going to see your face, guys. Like, you're just going to be an EVM compatible address, my friends. You should read TSI like MLD read Proverbs. Sovereign Sundays. I'm about it. Yeah, because it might take a long time to read this entire book. Spark 55 says, it was once unimaginable to cross the globe within a day. Yeah, good point, my friend. Good point. Now you can easily do it. Just makes you wonder what the future will bring and what might be unimaginable for many today might get common. Good point, man. Harry McGuire G says, I'm starting to realize it's not all doom and gloom. No. It's never all doom and gloom, bro. Doomerism is for losers, man. Doomerism is for losers. Trust me on that one. Ideals become wealth. Merit, whatever it arises, will be rewarded as never before. In an environment where the greatest source of wealth will be the ideas that you have in your head rather than physical capital alone, anyone who thinks clearly will potentially be rich. The information age will be the age of upward mobility. It will afford far more equal opportunity for billions of humans in parts of the world that never shared fully in the prosperity of industrial society. So I will put a bookmark there because this is going to probably take 1 quadrillion episodes. 1 quadrillion episodes to go over. And I obviously can't do it all in the same. I guess I'm gonna have to stream about something different tomorrow. I might just stream about this again tomorrow, guys. I really just might do it. I just can't help but educate you guys on the sovereign individual. It's a good book, guys. Go check it out. Go and download it yourself and read it beforehand if you want to. But alas, if you are, once again, still wanting to become a sovereign individual and you're stuck in your wage cage, developerdirection.com, Bootcamp X closes enrollment the 27th, which is a Sunday. And for the people that have already signed up, I will see you in there. And for the people that are in DD on the year side, I'm going to see you guys on Sunday. And other people in the audience, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. We're going to figure out whether or not I'm going to either stream about this tomorrow or 8-bit ducks. Could it be 8-bit ducks? I don't know. You guys are going to find out. See ya.